Okay. Right. So we're the Purple Cup team, and we are a group of life scientists with a range of expertise. And with our app, we hope to bring healthcare into the 21st century. So today we're asking for £500,000 for 30% equity in our company. So PocketDoc is a medical tracker app which aims to simplify the lives of patients, protect them from possible harmful drug interactions, and also reduce the burden on the NHS due to overprescription of drugs, missed GP appointments, and excessive antibiotic use and misuse. So we believe that this app could serve as a platform for the next generation of smart medicines. But why do we need to provide this platform? So the problem that we're hoping to tackle is the huge economic burden on the NHS due to the sheer number of patients that it has to deal with. So as you can see from the figure, there are many districts in the UK which have less than 58 GPs per 100,000 people. And in 2015, this averaged out at 2.8 physicians per 1,000 people. So the dealing with this number of patients and the record keeping and paperwork that comes along with this has proven difficult. And even though in recent years the NHS has switched to trying to switch to using a digital record keeping system, it's not fully integrated, and there's still problems with delays in patient care and also impacts on patient safety due to inefficient record keeping. As well as this, there were over 1 billion prescription items dispensed in the UK in 2015, with a net ingredient cost amounting to £9.3 billion. And with 89.7% of all of these prescriptions being dispersed free of charge, this is a massive amount of money. There are also 107 million appointments, of which 20% were missed, costing the NHS £162 million. Antibiotic resistance, as we've heard, is also a huge issue, and this is mainly fueled on our side by misuse and over-prescription of antibiotics. And UK Sepsis Trust figures indicate that there are, on average, 44,000 deaths a year from sepsis, and the majority of these are caused by antibiotic resistance. And if we continue this way, by 2050 it's predicted that there will be more deaths from antimicrobial resistance than from cancer. So with our app, we aim to provide a simple interface with which patients can input all their medication, including their over-the-counter medication, keep track of their GP appointments, and also send reports back to their GP to hopefully promote efficient and effective healthcare advice. So I'll now pass over to Nick, who will tell you about the features of the app and how they address the problems that I've just highlighted.
Thank you. So the main focus of the app is to keep it simple and easy to use so that first-time users will be committed and stay with the app. That's where it will be useful. So on the home screen, as you see there, it's got all the main functions simply arranged, adding prescription, the timetable, making an entry for if you have a headache or dizziness after taking some of the meds, contact a GP, and also for the ability to customise your experience through the settings for after users have used it a bit, for the more advanced features of the app. The app has a timetable as well that will tell you when you're due to take a dosage of a pill or when you have a GP appointment, and you'll be given prompts as shown on the right there for when you have to take a dosage, and then that's also got a snooze button in case you can't take it straight away. And when you do take that dosage, the timetable will update, let you know when you can take the next one or when you have to take the next one for prescription. So when adding the prescription, we've added a med reader function which can use the camera on the smartphone to make it really easy to add the medication in. Like you see some sort of translating apps now being able to do that, just reading text off. And then you have a few options for what kind of medication it is, form and the dosage. And then you also have some options for the reminders. At the same time as this, the app will be able to determine if there is an adverse interaction in the medication that you are taking, such as with these antacids with calcium carbonate in them, with levothyroxine. And also in some antihistamines and sleeping pills, they'll have the same ingredient, and you want to avoid having a higher dose than you want. As well as this, you can look at your recent history and amend it if you did make a mistake, and there's the option to look at more information on the medication that you are taking, and this is a big help for if you're finishing your course of antibiotics, etc. So arranged on a Venn diagram there is the benefactors, and I've arranged the features into what they benefit. So the burden on GPs, because the app can collect data which can be given to the GPs for use. The antibiotic crisis, because it reminds you to take the medication and finish your course of antibiotics, and also just helping the patient get interest in the app and stay committed, as well as having multiple profiles so you can use it for a family member, like an older family member who may not be able to use the app. And now Kieran will tell you about the business model.
Right, thanks Nathan. So at PocketDoc, we plan to utilise two key revenue streams. Our primary revenue stream will be generated through the app itself, and the secondary revenue stream will be generated through the data it collects. So within the app, we intend to have unintrusive ad space and also feature sponsored medicines, and we could also feature microtransactions in exchange for premium features. The data collected can be anonymised and used by academia and industry for use in epidemiological studies. For instance, does a particular medicine have have an effect on resting heart rate? With the use of data collected by the app itself and any linked hardware such as a fitness tracker, we could answer these questions and many more at minimal cost. The primary target audience would be tech-savvy NHS patients, and then eventually we plan to expand and target healthcare professionals and members of industry, and we will try to generate specific solutions related to our original app for them. So PocketDoc features in a niche that is booming. There's currently an increasing surge in consumer interest in personal metrics. Sleep Cycle, Fitbit, MyFitnessPal track all aspects of our lives. They look at how well we're sleeping, how well we're adhering to our diet, and how our gym sessions are going. It's nice to know these things, but I would argue that adherence to a course of medicine is more important, and not only can it limit the progression of disease, but in the case of antimicrobial resistance, there's a growing problem. We don't have enough antimicrobials, and one of the reasons bacteria developing resistance is due to people not finishing their course of antibiotics. And we can help to limit this by educating through the app and also prompting users to actually finish their course. PocketDoc intends to enter a market that's currently quite sparse, and with our innovative features like our smart pill monitoring, our rapid medicine registration, and our meta-analysis, we can quickly topple the market leader and become the de facto platform for smart medicine.
Cool. So just to really quickly go over the timeline for our business model, we're going to do lots of initial market research to get an idea of our client base and see what they would look for in this type of app. We're then going to approach an agency, such as one we've approached called Savvy Apps, which will work with us to develop our app. And the first phase of the app, phase 1, is going to be a more simple version of the app, and then once this is launched and sort of we're generating revenue from the in-app advertising, this will help us, and also getting feedback from people that are using it, it will help us to develop a phase 2 app with some more complex features. And then after around the 2-year mark, we're obviously going to continue to update and improve our app each year, and we're going to hope to expand their technology to other companies. So briefly, the budget, we have a quote from the agency of £100,000 for an initial development of the app, and then £140,000 each year for the sort of maintenance of our app. And we're asking you guys for £500,000 for a 30% share in our company. And this initial investment is going to allow us to develop our app, and then we're going to be using our in-app advertising and expansion to other companies to generate lots of income, and our company will profit over £1.5 million in 4 years. So we've projected that you Dragons will be earning over £800,000 in 4 years, so more than earning back your initial investment. So just to summarise, our Pocket Doc app is going to bring healthcare into the 21st century, and for a small investment of £500,000, you guys can be a part of this. We're offering you a 30% share in our company, which will have assets of over £2.5 million within 4 years. Thank you very much.
Dragons, questions?
Okay. IP around developing an app is a tricky market and it's a tricky thing. Have you looked into that at all?
I think we did briefly look into it, but we didn't find anything that we could particularly patent. I think most of it would be, I think the real asset in the company would be the data that we have and the data we generate, our user base, and our sort of licenses, so that we sort of
So have you looked into ethics around using this data?
So we can anonymise the data, and we can also make sure that any people, that we clearly state what we do take, and if people want to opt out, they can do and still continue to use the app.
One of the things with a lot of these health apps and health websites that comes back from talking to users and consumers is that they don't know whether they can trust the data or trust the app. Would you look to get sort of NHS approval so you could have a logo on there?
Yeah, there are apps that have been approved by the NHS, and we think that this, because of the fact that we're trying to target people taking full courses of antibiotics and helping the GPs, that it should be easy to get support from the NHS, so it would be a trusted source for people to use.
Thank you. What about risk associated with this? So, you're going to have some pretty sensitive data here. Is that going to be hosted in medical records there? I'm worried about litigation. I'm thinking about this in the US market, fancy bears or whatever, they hack your system, medical records of patients get out, that would wipe you out, wouldn't it? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, all the data will be anonymised, and we'll be looking for trends rather than looking at individual people. So we'll be looking at sort of global changes and things rather than following the healthcare of an
So I
individual.
appreciate what you're looking at, but when your operational plans, what have you thought about for data security? Is that something that you're planning for, budgeting for?
Well, we have extensive server costs, and we do have plenty of money going into maintaining the app to ensure that that security is in place and is maintained. We use the latest security methodologies to ensure that our the data we do contain, which is obviously very sensitive, is contained in a safe way.
I like the idea of what you're doing here. Again, is there a risk that somebody may, misdiagnose or do something, or blame your app for taking the wrong med at the wrong time? Have you thought about that in terms of litigation risk, insurable risk?
The only feature that we've put in the app about medication is generally a warning that they're taking too much of something. So if they were taking an over-the-counter medicine as well as being prescribed something and didn't realise it had the same ingredients, that would then be highlighted on the app, but it wouldn't advise you to take any medication. It'd be more make an appointment with your GP, but it wouldn't be advised, it'd just be take the tablets that you've been given.
Thank you. Since I did it to the team, I want to do it to you guys as well. Are you saying that in 4 years' time your company is worth 2.5 million? Is that what you're saying?
Our total assets are over 2.5 million.
I like your answer to the question. What do you think your company will be worth in 4 years' time?
I think we've been rather conservative. We haven't fully incorporated our potential in sort of licensing and also sponsorship within our budget. But I mean, using like an industry multiplier, let's say 4,
Yeah.
And then we could say that our company will be worth around 10 mil.
Oh, 10 million.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay, if I was about controlling the age of people who are able to download the app, is there anything in place where, have you thought of a minimum age that people will be able to use this app?
I don't understand what the need for that would be.
What you know, like any app that people could use, you know, at what age would you want someone to be using this? 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds?
Well, I think anyone old enough to be able to download the app and like confidently be able to actually input medicines would be well enough, would be informed enough to be able to sort of deal with that information that the app gives you. I don't see people younger than 10 concerning themselves with how they're going
I'm
to
just
plan
thinking
that.
legally of your liabilities for ensuring who's registering to use it and
Right.
how you're controlling that.
I mean, any information that we provide is going to essentially be going to be available to them anyway in the form of that little leaflet that you get with medicines. So it's not like we're giving anything extra, it's just we're presenting it in an easier fashion.
And also, if you do have young children with parents wanting to record their medication, there's the feature on the app where you can have multiple profiles. So a parent could use their app to keep track of what their child's taking. So they wouldn't be responsible for it themselves, but it is applicable to all the age groups because someone else can manage it for them.
Yeah, it might be more applicable actually for older people, because the
Yeah.
older you are, the more medicines you take,
Yeah.
and they're maybe the less likely to.
Yeah, that's where the idea came from.
Okay.
Any more? Is that it? Excellent. Well,